Hi, hello. How are you doing? Today is the first time I record in 2022. It's January 26, and my name is Joji. I am a knitter and a knitting pattern and knitting bags designer, and this is my knitting journal. I am very happy to see you here in YouTube. I'm very happy to be recording. I have a lot of things to share, and there will be many things that will be left out from this recording, I'm sure, but it's nice to catch up. It's nice to finally find the time and the space to record one of my journals. I want to thank everyone who has written saying that you miss the knitting journals and that you miss my presence, and I want to say that it's reciprocate. I miss the interactions with you too. Sometimes it's very hard to find the perfect time. It has to be quiet. It has to be, I have to have enough time to record and finish. I have to have all the things I'm working on with me. And it's hard, but I'm here. You will probably hear my voice a little bit strange, and you might hear me coughing during this recording a lot. Speaking of which, I got COVID on the beginning of January, maybe 20 days ago. I started with my first symptoms. I only had mild symptoms. Luckily, I didn't have any serious illness. I am sure that it's because I had my 2 shots. I'm waiting for my booster shot now here in Argentina. And but I still haven't completely recovered from it. One of the most annoying symptoms that I have left is coughing and very heavy sweating. And today especially I feel that my face is puffier than it normally is, and it's been like that for the last week. And I don't know if it has to do with COVID or not, but anyway, here I am. I am carrying on with my normal life. Mostly I've been knitting a lot. Training with COVID has been kind of exhausting, so I have had to cut down a lot in the intensity of my workouts. Okay, looks like WhatsApp's not going to bother anymore. Anyway, I turned those notifications off. So yeah, I've been knitting a lot, maybe not a lot compared to some other years, but I think that a lot compared to the end of 2021 when I was barely knitting, and I am enjoying what I'm making a lot. So I'm going to first talk about a pattern that I published yesterday. Unfortunately, I'm at my summer house. This is my kitchen. It's the best place for me to record because it has a lot of light and I have a table, and it's quiet because my children are still in bed, but I don't have the nice yarns that I sometimes have when I record at home. And yeah, so I don't have the sample for the pattern published yesterday here with me, but I'm going to insert a photo here. It's called the Marble Mount Pullover, and I showed this design as I was working on it here in the journal. It's a fingering weight top-down circular yoke pullover. And I think that a lot of people are scared of fingering weight sweaters. I think that many have the misconception that they take 2 or 3 times more than worsted weight sweaters, which is actually not true at all. It is true, they take a little bit more than it would to make these sweaters out of worsted weight, but it's not 2 or 3 times more, it's just a little bit more. Just so that you can compare how much more it is. If you look at the gauge that we need most worsted weight sweaters, we use 20 stitches per 4 inches, right? And then for fingering weight sweaters, most of us design them at a gauge of 23 or even 22, sometimes 24, but it's not 40. So it's not like we have twice as many stitches in every direction as we do for worsted weight sweater. It's just a little bit more, maybe 30% more than you would for worsted weight sweaters, but not twice as more. I love a fingering weight sweater for many reasons. I like that it only takes a few skeins. So for my size, which is a medium size, I only use 2.5 skeins of yarn. That means that most of these sweaters are a lot more budget friendly than heavier weight sweaters. I also like that, oh man, those notifications, hold on. Okay. I also like that they are versatile, so I can wear them in a warmer weather as well as in a colder weather if I layer them under a jacket or a heavier sweater. Excuse me. I also like that they are, to me, they look more flattering sometimes, so they tend to adjust better to your body than heavier weight sweaters. And I just think that they are a great piece that I tend to pick more often than my worsted weight sweaters. So if you were thinking about whether or not a fingering weight sweater is a good investment of your time, I think that most successful pullovers and cardigans are made out of fingering weight yarn. For some reason, there's more room for you to adjust, and they just adjust better to your body type than heavier weight sweaters. So I want to encourage you to give it a try. This pattern or any other fingering weight, just give it a try. Don't be scared of how long it will take, because I promise it won't take twice as much as a worsted weight one. I am hosting a mini knit along in my Ravelry group. My Ravelry group is called Designs by Joji, and there is a forum thread where I'm hosting very informally a group of knitters who are making this pattern, and there are no prizes and no rules and no deadlines. We're just knitting there together. I might get a prize, but I didn't have people sign up, so I should see if I can like open a forum or something. I won't promise a prize, but I'll think about it, and then we can knit together, and you can ask me questions if you have any doubts about the yarns that you want to use for this, or if you want to substitute, which is the norm. Most of us substitute anyway. So come join me in my Ravelry group. I'll be waiting for you there, and hopefully we can knit a marble mount pullover together. I published another pattern during this year. On January 3rd, there was a a shawl that came out. I didn't post about it a lot because it was my mother's birthday that same day, so I was very tied up with the celebrations for her birthday. But it's called Atlantic Heart, and I want to show it here in the journal so that I can talk a little bit more than I did on social media. It's been kept in my closet here at the summer house, so it's a little bit wrinkled. Okay, so I used 3 colors for this shawl. This yarn is by Neighborhood Fiber Company, and it's their rustic fingering. It's a single ply fingering weight superwash merino. This is a crescent shaped shawl, and I used a lot of slip stitches for this design. Cardigan wanted me to design something for their yarn club happening in January. I don't know if she ended up sending this pattern to all of her customers, but it was designed for that. As I said, I used 3 colors, and let's see if I can find the names of the colors that I use here in my Instagram page. Let's see, so I use Shadow, which is, I wrote gray on my Instagram, but it's not really gray. Shadow is the first color. It's this sort of variegated lilac gray, and it's knitted on its own in this band, in this band, and in this band. Then I use Charcoal, of course the darkest of the trio, and then I use Cross Street Market, it's the pink. So first I started with a solid band in the shadow color, then I added these slip stitch bands that introduce the contrasting colors little by little, so there are 2 bands of this slip stitch ribbing. And finally, I worked the border just using the contrasting colors. And for the border, you might recognize this stitch from my hipster shawl and my hipster cowl designs. This is the Indian cross stitch or a broomstick stitch pattern, where you slip the stitches and you make extra yarn overs to achieve these little crossings. And when I finished the border, I realized that it looked like a shell, so I named it Atlantic Heart, based on the name of a shell, a pink shell fish, that it's some kind of scallop. So this is called Atlantic Heart, and you can find it. You can find both patterns on my Ravelry page and on my website hojiknits.com, and I will add links to the description of the video. And also for the pullover, I forgot to tell you that there's a 25% discount until tomorrow. So if you want to get the pattern for a nice, simple, understated and elegant sweater, you can do that with a big discount until tomorrow. So those are my patterns so far for 2022. You know, I'm not designing patterns as quickly as I used to, but it's going well. I'm pretty excited about my work. I have been working, of course, with Joji & Co bags a lot, but I have been finding more time to design, which is what I love the most. So I've been very focused with my design work lately. So I want to show you some of my recent finished projects. I had to go find them. which I'm very happy about, and things that I'm writing and things that I'm grading and editing. So first I'll start with some socks that I won't be writing or editing or publishing, but I made for my son. These are some just almost plain vanilla socks, except that I added this texture pattern to the top. This is yarn by Olan, and this was the first pair of socks that I made using continental knitting, and I'm very pleased with the tension that I achieved. This went quicker than with my usual English style. For some reason, I can never manage to make them exactly the same. One of them it's slightly wider than the other one. I don't know if they'll fit Nano. They look kind of narrow, especially the one in the front. I'm pretty sure I used the same amount of stitches, but they look kind of different, and so I haven't yet given them to him because I wanted to show them here in the journal. And I don't know if you remember, but Nano loves his hand knit socks, so even if it's the middle of summer, Nano will wear hand knit socks for whenever he wears socks. In the summer, he wears his Crocs all the time, except when he's out for a run or working out, and he works out only using woolen socks, which is an honor for me. And so I will give them to him now, but as soon as he wears them, they will not look so good anymore. So that's why I wanted to show them here in the journal. This, as I said, this is yarn by Olan. It's their Sock Light, and I have no idea what the color is called. It's this pink and green variegated multicolor yarn. And I made another pair of socks. These are a lot faster to make than the ones I made for Nano, but they are socks for staying at home. So these are worsted weight socks. I don't know if the light is good enough to show them. These are made using my yak medium, baby yak medium, and I use 3.25 millimeter needles to make this. You can make a sock in a day, and so you can have a pair of socks in a couple of days, and so they make for a perfect gift. I used 2 skeins, one for each sock, and then I added some leftover bits to the cuffs to give them this vintage look. They fit kind of loosely. As you can see, they are a lot more slouchy than the ones that I made for Nano, but they look super cute, and I think that they are the perfect pair of socks to just wear at home when you're watching TV and you want to cozy up by the fire. I am writing the pattern for this. We are almost done testing, so this will be out soon. Be in the lookout for this pattern. This cardigan behind me, I had been working on this one for a long time. You can go back and you'll see all of the live sessions that I did during the fall knit along. I was knitting this sweater and talking about it. I used the Lamb Kit yarns, and I won't bother you anymore with this one. Just know that I wrote the pattern and it's being test knitted, so the pattern will be out soon. And this is my other finished object. This one I made with my friend Alice yarn, and we're almost done testing this one, so I have to take photos of all of these patterns, and they will be probably the ones to come next in the next few weeks. Speaking of pattern writing, one thing that was very interesting and nice to be able to share on Instagram is what happened with this design. This design is called Mei Song, and it's one of my most favorite pieces that I have ever made, and I worked on it. Sorry about those. I really can't make them disappear. I'll just turn the volume down a little bit. And so I worked on this sweater since the beginning of maybe March last year. And then until I worked on it, I knitted on it for a long time. And I've been writing the pattern since June, July last year. Without going too much into detail with what happened with this design I'm gonna say I just burned out with it. I just burned out. The pattern, I wrote it to 9 sizes. So there were 3 sets of sizes. Each set had a different amount of rows for this faux v-neck. And I only realized that I needed to do that after knitting my sample. Otherwise, I probably would have done things differently so that grading would have been more friendly to me. At the same time, everything had to be charted for this motif. So there were charts. The charts started at a different stitch number here. And so each size had a different sets of charts for this part, and also for the joining of the v-neck, and also to allow that all of the sizes have this all over pattern, correct? So I knew how to grade it. It took a very, very long and laborious time. I spent over a month writing on the drafts only and working on all of those charts. Each size has 6 different charts, and there were 9 sizes, so I worked on 54 charts. None of those were repeatable. And then I wrote 3 sets of files. So sizes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And as I was writing I first wrote a file for 3 sizes, and I sent it out to 2 testers who are my closest friends. They tried the pattern out while I was writing the other 2 drafts, and they sent me their feedback, so I used that information to write the other 2 drafts. And finally I had all 9 sizes, and I sent it out to test knitters, but the pattern was just full of bugs. There are always mistakes in my drafts that we correct to make the pattern right. That is what test knitting is about. But in this case, I felt as I was testing that as I fixed mistakes on one file, I was introducing mistakes on the other 2 files. Like, in order for me to fix a stitch count or a chart or a problem when joining this part to that one, I was just introducing new potential errors in the other sizes. And I think I got really depressed one morning, and as I was reading the feedback from my so brave testers. And there was this tester who was making my size, and a size that had already been tested by my friend, and she found like 3 or 4 mistakes in the charts that required me rewriting some sections. And I said, okay, if this is wrong with the size that I made and that has already been tested, I really don't know when we will finish testing these files. It's like I will have to finish this round of test knitting, issue a lot of corrections, and then I should send it out to another 9 test knitters to test all 9 sizes again. And I realized that it was just not something feasible for me. I kept forgetting the strategies that I used to grade that pattern, my reasons for using this or that technique, or my reasons for making these charts this way or that way. I kept forgetting. So every time I had to work on corrections, I had to restudy the pattern and all the tricks and bits of it. And it just took me a whole day rereading the patterns and then trying to find or identifying where the problems were. Anyway, I guess I'm telling this story because I got a lot of offers from people to help me grading this pattern, and I had to decline them. But I wanted to explain that it doesn't have to do with whether I could write it or not. I could grade it, I just couldn't make sure that the test knitting phase was correct enough so that I was 100% sure that the pattern was flawless. And I don't think that I can do that with help. The only way for me to feel good about this pattern now would be to put it through another round of test knitting, and I just couldn't do it. Another thing that happened was a lot of people, when I shared my frustration, because I don't know if by me telling the story of this sweater, if you can actually imagine how many hours I put into this design, but they were a lot, and it's kind of like a loss of work hours. It's like building something that then you won't be able to sell and that you won't be able to make profit from. And I love doing what I do, but also I do this for a living. So of course my instinct is to always keep trying not to waste my time, so that if I already spent some time on something, I will try to make it work so that it's not a loss. But at some point I had to call it quits, and I had to say, okay, this is where really I can't work on it anymore. I'm not able to finish this pattern. And it was really frustrating and humbling, and I got very upset, but it was the right decision anyway. And other people told me or asked me why I didn't publish the pattern in those sizes that were correct, so that at least those people who wore my size, they could make it. So first of all, the important thing, I hate it when I love something and I don't feel included. And it happens a lot, more than most people think. I don't find my size here in Argentina for me. I don't find a size that's big enough for trousers or a dress, or I don't know, sometimes I don't find food that I feel is good for me in a place where I go, or I feel excluded from some things in my life. Not a lot, but it happens. and I hate it, and I feel very sad, and I feel like an outsider, and I can't help feeling bad about myself when that happens. I shouldn't, but I leave those places feeling inadequate, or maybe I should look different or be different. And when I get home, I get feelings like, but wait, I am perfectly adequate. I am a beautiful person the way I am, and I should have the opportunity to dress or eat or belong in the places that I choose. And so I won't ever do a design or make a design that is not inclusive because I couldn't grade it to all of the sizes that most people have asked for, because I know that I have the skills to do it. And if I don't, then it's not because someone is inadequate, it's because I wasn't able to finish the grading, not because a size is too big or too small. It's just because I wasn't able to. So I think that publishing the pattern in a few sizes, even if they are not the smaller ones, maybe my size medium, and then maybe the one that worked is the 3 extra large, it's just not, it just doesn't match what I love about my job, is that I have the ability to really include everyone's size and most people's shapes in my design. So that is the main reason, the important reason why I won't publish the pattern in the sizes that did work. The other reason is that, as I shared, there were still questions rising with the sizes that I thought that they were working, and there were still some testers finding bugs, and so there are really no 100% correct sizes. So, some testers did finish. They pushed their way through the armhole joint, and they were able to finish. And they have a beautiful sample to show off. But I don't think that I can publish this pattern ever. But I do love the faux v-neck that I worked, and I think that I can make this pattern work if I use a simpler pattern outside, so I don't have to use so many complicated charts for all the different sizes. So I plan to recycle those ideas into a more suitable design, and then that is something that I'm really eager to cast on. So we'll see. So those are my finished objects and my patterns in progress, and now I have my works in progress. I think it's just my works in progress. So the first thing you probably noticed is this guy hanging behind me. This is a new cardigan that I just love it so much. I'm working on, Vera and I are working together on a mini collaboration, so it's going to be a mini version of interpretations, because we are meeting each other in April for the first time in 3 years, and so we wanted to take the opportunity to photo shoot something together, and we didn't have enough time to work on a full book production. So it's only going to be 2 words for this mini collaboration, and I am working on the first of those ideas. These patterns are only going to be available digitally, and anyway. So I'm excited about that. I hope that I can come. I hope that there are no new travel restrictions that keep me from going. I'm not going to share all the details of this cardigan because it's very detailed, but I just wanted to give you a better sneak peek of what's going on. It's one of my most detail-oriented designs to date. I am normally very detail-oriented, and this one is even more. It's a very tailored design, and I'm enjoying it very, very much. I am going to say that I'm using a mix of a fingering weight and a mohair yarn. They are here. They are by Madeline Tosh, and it's Tosh Merino Light and Impression. They're mohair, and the color is called Filtered Daydreams, and it's like pinky camel color, like a blush color. Very beautiful and easy to combine with a lot of colors. So a very romantic design on my needles, and I'm almost done. I think that it will be ready today or tomorrow. My fingers are itching to cast on new things, but I'm trying to finish this guy behind me so that I can write it down and have it test knit. Another tiny work in progress. I want to show off my new collaboration for Joji & Co. I don't know if you know, we have a bag company called Joji & Co. I talk about my product sometimes here too in the journal, and this is a design that we made in collaboration with Adela from Lola Bean Yarn Company, and it's called the Bean Bucket. And so I am using it to hold these tiny oh, baby knits. It's not tidy at all, and I don't know if the ribbing is correct. I'm gonna block it to see if it lays flat. It lies flat a little bit. I think it will, but it sort of flares out at the moment. I went down a needle size, but probably I should have gone down to an even smaller needle size. Anyway, this is a baby pullover, the cutest thing in the world. This is not my design. This is a design by Petite Knits, and I think it's the Seaside set, but let me check that. It's called the Seaside set. Okay. By Petite Knits. And I think I'm only going to make the sweater. So I am going to be an aunt in March. My brother and his partner Vicky are expecting a boy who will be called Camilo. And so I know that they like the color blue. So I'm making this little pullover. I'm using the Rerum Natura Ulysse in their natural color, I think, and then some leftovers for the blue contrast. This is Neighborhood Fiber Company's Studio Sock in some blue color, and I love it. So I still have to work on the sleeves, and I have to add the buttons. I made a lot of mistakes and it doesn't look so neat, but I don't think the parents care, and I really enjoyed knitting on this little thing. I will need another ball of the off-white, but I do have some of that here at the summer house. I love this project bag. It's perfect for 2 or 3 skein projects, and it has all the pockets inside, all around it, and then it's got a zipper to keep everything safely inside. I love it. So that's the bean bucket from Joji & Co. and Lola Bean Yarn Company. And then my other work in progress, it's here. This is our Joji & Co. sling bag. It's one of my favorite bags at the moment. I took one from the shop at the end of last year, and I've been using it a lot. I love that you can grab it and carry it like a sort of like a bucket bag. You can put it over your shoulder like that, or you can just grab one strap and wear it over the shoulder or as a sling bag. Anyway, right now I'm mostly using it at home to hold my sweater work in progress, and this is what I'm working on. Let me get all the pieces out and the yarn to show you. Okay, so this yarn was sent to me by my friend Tina, who's the owner of both Tuku Wool Yarns and Tututu Yarn Store in Finland, and she sent it via my sister who came for the holidays. And so this is their Tuku Wool DK. This is Finnish wool. It's a very rustic and toothy yarn. It's 100% Finnish wool, 250 meters in 100 gram skeins, and this color is called Auri. Oh, sorry. So I'm making this sweater in two halves. This is the right half, and as you can see, I made the back too. So this is the right half. It's a very simple construction, except that it's two separate halves, and I've already made the left half of the body. Some cables look a little flat, so I should make them pop now that I've blocked them. So I made both halves, and I'm going to join them using the cable with some I-cord magic. I think the length it's good. It's not too long, but it's not cropped either. And I'm going to join them at the back too. And so I'm missing one sleeve, and I am missing some kind of neckband too. And so it will soon be done. And this one went really quickly. So I think I'll use under 4 skeins. This is what's left of my third ball. So I've used almost 3 skeins, but I'm only missing one sleeve and an I-cord and a neckband. So I had 5 skeins and I have 2 left. I will not need 5 skeins. I'm definitely going to wind the 4th skein, but I won't need more than 4. So I am knitting this on 4.5 millimeter needles or US 7s, and it's flying off the needles. The yarn feels very warm and super light, and it's gray. And I want to knit all the gray things now, because I think that even though I love the designs that I've been working, I think that I kind of lost myself with COVID a little bit, and now, so beginning of 2020, I was not really sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to be cheerful and bright, but at the same time, I was uncomfortable with some of the colors that I was choosing, and now I decided I like gray, and I'm going to use other colors, of course, like I've needed with pink, but I'm embracing the fact that gray makes me happy. So now, if I don't know what color yarn I want, even if I want to order yarn from someone, but I'm stuck choosing colors, I won't be stuck anymore. It's just gray. Give me gray. I like the gray. Speaking of gray, I have 2 sets of yarns that I'm like itching to cast on right now. I didn't bring a ton of yarn with me to Summer House, but this came and I want to start something very soon. This is a set, a fade set that was made by my friend Amy from La Bien Aimée, and this is their Merino Sport, and the colors are Storm, Mist, Gray, no, Payne's Gray, and my fave, Fog. This is a blue-black color. This is a gray-blue fade. And I am going to make a shawl for my mini collaboration with Vera. So the cardigan and this shawl will be published towards mid-year, probably May, June, because we'll photograph them in April. And the other thing that I want to cast on is another summer garment. I will be using this yarn by Shibui. This is their Cone, K-O-A-N. This is 70% linen, 30% mulberry silk, and it feels really, really lovely and beautiful. I think I would like to make a summer top. Even though summer is ending, I know that my customers around the world are going towards their spring and summer. So it feels like a good time of the year to start a summer garment. And the color that I brought is called 11. It doesn't have, no, sorry. It's not 11. It's called Tar. And I think the color number is 11. So Tar. Cone in Tar. Okay. I don't know that I can show you any more knitting. This was a lot of knitting for me, for what I'm used to. I hope you enjoyed that. For those interested in other news of my life, I am going to go on a hiking trip in 10 days. No, in a week. In a week, we're going to fly to Bariloche here in Argentina, in Patagonia region. And we are embarking on a multi-day hiking trip. It's my first time doing multi-day hikes. That means that we're going to sleep the first night at a shelter, the second night in a tent, and the third night at a different shelter. We're going to do like a travesía, like a crossing with a guide, with a travel company. And I hope to learn a lot about the backcountry and how to camp in the wilderness from them. So next time that we go on a hiking trip and there are maybe some multi-day hikes, we can do them more confidently, since I have never done it before and I feel like I'm prepared for those. Not physically, but like there's so much that you have to know, how to be careful with your food and with your equipment and your tent. So that's what I'm hoping to learn. I don't know if you have ever heard of the area of Bariloche in Argentina, but I hope you Google it, because we have so many beautiful places to visit in my country, and I hope that you can see how beautiful it is over here, and perhaps one day put it in your bucket list to visit. Then, as I told you, I haven't been able to train as much as I would like because of COVID. I haven't been feeling so great, but I'm trying to prepare for another mountain race happening in March. So I have run several half marathon distances last year. I have never ran longer than a half marathon, and I have run one mountain race in November. It was a 15-kilometer race, and now I've signed up for a 22-kilometer mountain race in Cordoba, here in Argentina. So I'm trying to prepare for that, which is kind of hard to do in Buenos Aires because we don't have any mountains or hills or any place where I can actually train running uphill. And especially here where I am, I don't have any bridges nearby. When I'm back at the city, I train by crossing the railroad bridges back and forth for many kilometers. But I don't have any bridges over here, so I'm just trying to train my legs by going up and down the stairs here at home, which is most annoying for everyone else in the house while I do that. And I'm grateful for their patience. And doing lots of lunges and squats and stuff like that. But still, I think my legs are going to get hammered when I run downhill at that race. I've read some things. Mostly I've listened to things on Audible lately. Let's see if I listen to anything good. I've recently finished the book of Baltimore by Joel Dicker, which was good. I really like the author. It wasn't my favorite book by him, but it was kind of good. So if you wanna go read, it's a good read. I've read the Reader on the 627 by Jean-Paul Didier Laurent, and this was a recommendation by my friend Vera, and it was a short listen, but it was fun, and I enjoyed it. I've been listening to Voyager from the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, but I love the book and I love the series. I just find listening to it on Audible a bit, I don't know, it puts me to sleep. Every time I put this book on, I go to sleep. And I am getting ready to listen to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And I am going to listen to that book together with my friend Heli. We sometimes do read or listen alongs, so that is my next read. Please don't spoil it to me. You don't have to leave a comment whether you liked it or not. I'm just letting you know that I'm reading that one. and I'll let you know if I liked it when I'm done. And yeah, I think that's it. I have a lot of ideas for knitting, not just the two great projects that I showed to you. I have sketched an entire interpretations 9 with Vera, and I have other things that I also want to work on. So get ready. I hope that there's going to be a lot of knitting and hopefully more journals this year. And yeah, that's it. Hope to see you soon. I hope you enjoyed my recording. Let me know if you did. I'd love to hear your comments, and I love reading about you. So see you soon. Bye.